something that God does supremely well is to take something that is dead and bring it to life. Where there is nothing, to bring something. Where there is to take the ordinary and make it extraordinary. To take no one and make them into someone. God does this supremely well. And in this gospel here, we have the Lord taking, in fact, he's doing it twice in the first reading and in the gospel. He's taking somebody who is dead and bringing them to life. It's a big change for anyone to go through. Tell me, how many of you here remember black and white TV? Stick your hands up. If you remember black and white TV. Was it good having black and white TV?
Yes.
It was great, wasn't it? So when we got color TV, what was the change between black and white and color? What was that like? What was that like? Magnificent. Any other words? Fantastic. Transformation. Anything else? Stupendous. It was great. Very, very good. Okay, another question for you. How many of you remember the original, the first computers, the Atari, or what are the other ones? Okay, I remember them. Okay. I remember playing the tennis game. I don't know what it was called, but what was it called? I can't remember. Anyway, and it was great. We all played around the TV. Was it good for those?
At that time, yes.
At that time, it was fantastic. What's it like now having these new computers? You know, that you can even carry around and be a phone at the same time. The difference, what difference is that?
Terrible.
He doesn't like it.
Can't explain it. Can't explain it.
You can't explain it. It's unimaginable, the difference between what we had beforehand and what we've got now. And when we had the black and white TV, it was great. When we had those original computers, it was fantastic. And seeing that there was a possibility of having something different or experiencing something different didn't even come into our heads. Or maybe it did to some people. And in the second reading there, we have St. Paul, who spoke about how, as a practicing Jew, he persecuted the Christians. He tried to destroy the church. And then there was that transformation. God took him from where he was and did something extraordinary with him. Could Paul have ever imagined, while he was doing his best to persecute the Christians, that he would become one, and instead of persecuting Christians around Judea and Israel, that he would be spreading Christianity throughout the world? Could he have ever imagined that happening? I doubt it. I doubt it. God is a God who transforms. He changes things. He loves us as we are, but too much to allow us to remain as we are. Our faith is a faith that is about change, that is about transformation, about becoming something new, something we couldn't even have imagined. If we look in Paul's letters to the Corinthians, the first letter to the Corinthians, chapter 2, this is what Paul is saying. He says, "We teach what Scripture calls the thing that no eye has seen and no ear has heard, things beyond the mind of man, all that God has prepared for those who love him." Now, we might consider that to be Paul talking about from life to eternal life, which is a huge transformation. But this text applies from life now to our continued life in the future. Another text where he speaks about this sort of thing going on is in 2 Corinthians chapter 3, and he says, "And we, with our unveiled faces, reflecting like mirrors the brightness of the Lord, all grow brighter and brighter as we are turned into the image that we reflect. This is the work of the Lord, who is Spirit." The Lord changes us from glory to glory as we reflect His image, as we change to become more like Him. This is what He does. Tell me, would you go back to black and white TV? You're just being contrary. Would you go back from the computer that you have now to the old Atari, and you wouldn't. Would Paul want to go back to his former ways? Not at all. And when we look back, when we've experienced that, the transforming power of God taking us from our death in sin to new life in Him, when we look back, we do not want to go back to where we were before. That is not a place we want to return to. That for us would be death. God wants to continue to change us, to transform us by His Spirit. And when I'm talking about us, I'm not talking about you just individually. Yes, I am talking about you individually, but this church too. God can do more than we can ever dream of or imagine with this church. Why should we stay as we are when He can do far more? Why should we personally stay as we are when the plans He has for us are beyond our imaginings? And if we were to follow those plans, we would look back on this present day and say, thank God He came, thank God He changed my life, thank God He's continuing to do so. Our God is a God who changes lives. He's not a God of the static and staying as you are. That's not on the cards as a Christian, as a parish. God will do it if you allow Him. He will take us from where we are now and do marvels. To take us from death to new life in Him.